What's up, guys? It's time. I hope you didn't get too excited because the card is not that interesting just yet. You'll see what I mean shortly. But first though, I'd like to congratulate Travis Skolai for successfully guessing the card name in the second round of the competition I posted in Echo Chamber. Funnily enough, he's actually from Australia as well. And he'll be receiving this Edgy Boy, which is signed by me. I asked if he wanted me to do that, just to kind of distinguish this as like a prize card compared to, you know, any generic normal Emperor. Thanks everyone else for entering and giving it a shot. Without further ado though, here is Dominion Legionary. Yes, that is Izana's job, but unfortunately this card has nothing to do with Chocobos. It's not even in the same element. It's a 4CP non-unique fire backup, which reads, when Dominion Legionary enters the field, you may search for one card named Dominion Legionary and add it to your hand. And then an action ability, tap, put Dominion Legionary into the break zone, choose one attacking forward, it gains plus 1000 power until the end of turn. Now, the first thing I'm going to say about this card is that its power level is very different depending whether there is another Dominion Legionary in the set or not. So I'm actually going to talk about it in both contexts. In general, it's effectively a 2CP backup, which is a good start because decks will always need those. It's an action ability, it's a very easy way to remove it from your field if you wish to replace it later in the game. So it's in a good spot in terms of the deck slot it occupies. There's like an early game backup that you can get rid of if you need to. It's also not a bad action ability. In general, it kind of gives your field a 1000 power buff during your turn or your attack phase. The threat of it means your forwards will most likely attack through forwards of equal power. That's kind of useful, kind of cool. What really defines the card though, obviously, is its enter ability. If there is not another Dominion Legionary, then it's decent. It basically turns one turn 1 backup into 2, which is actually very good. However, it only leaves you with 1 card if you're going first, or 2 if you're going second, since the other card will be the third copy of Dominion Legionary, which is useless, obviously. Going second, that's not so bad. But going first means you really have no choice but to keep the 1 card that you intend to play turn 2. So you don't really get any flexibility or options in that case. Furthermore, it doesn't work if you open more than 1 Dominion Legionary, which is kind of funny. So it's like, if you open 1, then you actually open 2. But if you open 2, then you actually open 1. But on the plus side, if you open this and another different 2-cost backup, then it's like opening 3 2-cost backups, which is like a really nice curve. And that still lets you keep 2 or 3 options, since you only have to invest in 1 Dominion Legionary turn 1, and you can play the other backup. And then next turn, you've got more options to discard, and you still get to keep 2 or 3 cards. So overall, it's actually pretty decent at fulfilling its role as like a turn 1 backup, because in many cases it will be a better 2CP backup than most others on turn 1, just because it provides you that curve. Unless you hard draw multiples, of course, in which case it's not great. Yeah, that's one of the risks. As a side note, although the second copy is a fairly blank 2CP backup, it is kind of cute that it filters out the last copy of itself, so you don't like dead draw it later. Anyway, now if there is another card called Dominion Legionary, then this card actually becomes really good. Even if the other version isn't, even if the other version is actually useless, or even in a different color, this card is actually very, very good if there is another card with this name, because it means opening a single one of these gives you your perfect curve into 3 backups turn 2, and it even works if you open multiples, because you can just proxy the other version as your search instead of the continuing copies of this backup Dominion Legionary. So that's actually a pretty insane concept for consistency if that happens, if that exists. Being able to open 1 2CP backup, which guarantees a 3 backup curve turn 2, is very, very strong, especially when Fire has a lot of decent 5-cost forwards that you can then play on curve turn 3. As for combos, there's not really that much to say. The card is not a very combo-centric card. However, one card does come to mind. This is the most obvious card, in my opinion, to go with this card. That's Auron from Opus 1. Obviously, Auron has not actually been that good in the past, and he may still not be that good. However, this card does actually kind of fill a role in like an Auron deck that we haven't seen before. So normally with Auron, one of the issues is that all of the high value backups, which is usually 4CP, that's the highest, currently the highest cost for a fire backup, all those full value targets, they are all unique, and they all require a specific like suboptimal search target. So you've got like Zangan, Rain, Mont Blanc, the Vermilion Bird, all of those search cards that are actually not that great, but you have to include them to get the full value off of Auron. Teeth is actually decent, but the others are kind of a bit meh. So the more of the same you play of those cards, the less deck space you have to devote to the bad cards that go with them, but the more likely you'll have dead additional copies that you can't play with Auron or even hardcast because you've already got that in play. So Dominion Legionary has neither of those issues, so it's a perfect fit for Auron. He may not be that great, but his effect does have a very high ceiling, and Opus 6 actually has the first fire backup that costs more than 4 CP, which is the Vermilion Bird, but a different version of it, which is actually a way better version. I know that's in not English, but that card basically has a passive ability that means your fire summons deal 1000 more when you cast them, and also when you play it, you can cast a fire summon from your deck, 4 CP or less, I believe. So that's actually the first super high value target for Auron. So if, you know, even though he's not that good, or has not been that good, he is kind of getting buffed behind the scenes, which is actually really cool. Like, he's an interesting card, and I like that that's kind of moving further in the direction that he might actually become playable one day if he becomes more reliable. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. I hope I've covered basically everything you can about a common standard unit. And thanks again for people that participated in the competition Echo Chamber. Anyway, yeah, cheers.